Hello, everyone. Welcome to class. Today, before I get started, I want to say I apologize for not being here last week. I had a project to work on. I was developing a prototype for my messenger, a chatbot for copywriting, and it was new and I was struggling with it. It took me a while to get it to work effectively, efficiently, and so I needed time to work on that project. But here I am today, and welcome back to class. And let's get started. So, before I get started, I want to say that we're going to be talking a little bit about the colonial period, the period that led, the period before the independence of the United States, and the people who lived during that time. The first people who came to the United States were the Pilgrims. They colonized the United States, the eastern part of the United States. The Pilgrims, they were the first colonists, and then more people came from Europe, and eventually 13 colonies were developed then. And that's the time period that we're talking about. So, question 58: what is one reason colonists came to America? What is one reason colonists came to America? What is one reason colonists came to America? So why did the pilgrims came to America? They came to America for freedom. They came for political liberty. They came for religious freedom. They came for economic opportunity. They came to practice their religion here in the United States and to escape persecution. Escape persecution. So, again, question 58: what is one reason colonists came to America? What is one reason colonists came to America? They came to America for freedom, political liberty, religious freedom, economic opportunity, practice their religion, and to escape persecution. The pilgrims wanted to have freedom to practice the religion the way they wanted it to be and felt that they were being persecuted in England and then decided to move to another land. They bought a ship named the Mayflower and they crossed the Atlantic Ocean till they got to the East Coast and settled in an area of Plymouth Rock. And that's where the first official colony that survived, both the pilgrims settled there. And with the help of Native Americans, were able to survive. Some died, a lot of people died. But with the help of Native Americans or Indians from the United States, they were able to survive and develop. And hence the colonies came forth, developed, and that led to independence later on. Okay, next question, 59. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? As I was saying, the first people who lived in the United States when the pilgrims came to America were the Native Americans or American Indians. Some people like to be called American Indians versus others like to be called Native Americans. It's best to ask them, how do you identify yourself? Do you identify if you meet a Native American, you might want to say, "Hey, do you identify as a Native American or American Indians?" I took classes with a friend who said she was Native American. Other Another student said, "Nope, I'm an American Indian." So, best is to ask the people how they identify themselves and use that word that to help them feel included, to be inclusive. Okay. So again, question 59: who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? American Indians or Native Americans lived here before the Europeans arrived. So 59 again: who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? American Indians or Native Americans lived here before the arrived, before the Pilgrims arrived and other European colonists came to the United States. Moving along, number 60. What group of people were taken to America and sold as slaves? So, what people were brought to America and then sold as slaves? 60. What group of people was taken to America and then sold as slaves? Africans or people from Africa were taken to America and sold as slaves. So Africans are people from Africa were taken to America as slaves. They were bought in the western part of Africa, put into slave ships, and brought from West Africa to the United States and then sold as slaves. So, number 60, what group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? Africans or people from Africa were taken to America as slaves. Next question, 61. Why did the colonists fight the British? So after the Pilgrims, more people came to the America, to the shores of America, and settled along the coast, the eastern coast of the United States, and the 13 colonies developed since then. And so they became known as the colonists. Later on, they fought the British. So why did they fight the British? Why did the colonists fight the British? The colonists fought the British because of the high taxes. They were being taxed. Britain was taxing them. Yet they felt they weren't having representation in the British government. So you're being taxed high taxes without any representation in the government. Also, because the British Army were staying in their houses, they were being forced to have soldiers in their houses. And that didn't seem right. They had to shelter them and feed them, and also because they didn't have self-government. So why did the colonists fight the British? The colonists fought the British because of the high taxes with no representation, because the British Army stayed in their houses. They were forced to shelter them, to feed them, and because they didn't have a self-government. So they felt that since we don't have these rights, we might as well become independent. And that's what led to the discussion and the idea of becoming independent from Britain. 62. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? So who's the author of the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. 62 again. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. There, wrote the Declaration of Independence. So 62, who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. 63, when was the Declaration of Independence adopted? So when was the Declaration of Independence adopted? The Declaration of Independence was adopted July 4th, 1776. The Declaration of Independence was adopted July 4th, 1776. 1776. 63 again. What was the Declaration of Independence adopted? The Declaration of Independence was adopted July 4th, 1776. That's why we celebrate Independence Day every July 4th. Okay. 64. There were 13 original states or original colonies. Name 3. So for your citizenship interview, you need to be able to list 3 of them. Here they are, and here's a photograph of the first 13 colonies or first 13 states. Most people refer to them as the first 13 colonies, but in the questions it says 13 original states. Name 3. They are New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Rhode Island, um, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Okay, these are the first 13 colonies or first 13 states that developed along right here along the east coast of the United States. The Pilgrims arrived to the state of Massachusetts. Massachusetts is, let's see, where is Massachusetts? Massachusetts, somewhere around here. It's right around here. Okay, moving along, 65. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? The Constitutional Convention is in the state of Pennsylvania. And this is a photograph of the the hall, the Constitutional Convention Hall. You can go visit it if you went to Pennsylvania. You can go to Pittsburgh and you will see it there. What happened at the Convention? I'm sorry. The Constitution was written in 1787. The founding fathers wrote the Constitution here at the Constitutional Convention. So 65 again. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? What happened here? The Constitution was written in 1787. The founding fathers wrote the Constitution. So, again, what happened at the Constitution Convention? Over there, the Constitution was written in 1787. The founding fathers wrote the Constitution. Moving along. 66. When was the Constitution written? When was the Constitution written? When was the Constitution written? The Constitution was written in 1787. The Constitution was written in 1787. When was the Constitution written? The Constitution was written in 1787. Next, 67. The Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers supported a passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. There were three writers. James Madison. The writers were James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay. James Madison used a pen name or a writer's name called Publicius. James Madison, Publicius, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay were the writers of the Federalist Papers that supported the passing of the U.S. Constitution. Question number 67. I would like to read something so that you can hear what it says here. The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. You need to know one. You could say James Madison, also known as Publius, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay. The Federalist Papers were 85 essays that were printed in New York. Newspapers while New York State was deciding whether or not to support the U.S. Constitution. The essays were written in 1787 and 1788 by Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison under the pen name Publius. The essays explain why the state should ratify the Constitution. Other newspapers outside New York also published the essays on other essays as other states were decided to ratify to pass the Constitution. In 1788, the papers were published together in a book called The Federalist. Today, people still read the Federalist Papers to help understand the Constitution. So again, 67, the Federalist Papers supported the passing of the U.S. Constitution. Name one writer. You just need to know one. You can say James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, but also remember that James Madison also called himself Publius. That's Latin. That's why I'm struggling. Publius. And that's his pen name, his writer's name. Okay. All right. Like, for example, Mark Twain, his name is Samuel Clemens, but his pen name is Mark Twain. James Madison's pen name is Publius, which is Latin. And that's why I'm struggling with it. 68. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? This guy is very famous. He's one of our founding fathers. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? So you need to know one, but look at the list. I have 5 things here. He was a U.S. diplomat. He was the oldest member of the Constitutional Convention. So he was one of the founding fathers who was there talking about the Constitution and was one of the signers. He was the first Postmaster General of the United States. He was the writer of Poor Richard's Almanac. You might want to check out this almanac. It has a lot of good stuff. I love it. And he also started the first free libraries in the United States. So, why is Benjamin Franklin? He's famous for he was a U.S. diplomat. He was the oldest member of the Constitutional Convention, the founding fathers who signed our Constitution. He was the first Postmaster General of the United States. Four, he was the writer of Poor Richard's Almanac, which is fun to read. And five, he started the first free libraries in the United States. Very famous guy. Very smart, too. 69. Who is the father of our country? Who is known as the father of our country? George Washington. President George Washington is known as the father of our country. Again, 69. Who is the father of our country? Who is the father of our country? George Washington is known as the father of our country. George Washington is known as the father of our country. Okay, that leads to the next question. 70, also related. Who was the first president? Who was the first president? Who was the first president? The first president. George Washington was the first president of the United States. George Washington was the first president of the United States. So, who was the first president? George Washington was the first president of the United States of America. All right, it's time to review. We review to practice, we review to remember, we review to become more comfortable, we review the questions and answers, and writing our answers in complete sentences. You want to impress the interviewer, you want to do a great job, but the more we practice, the better you become, the more comfortable you become, and you get ready for your citizenship. So 2 weeks ago, we tackled question number 49. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? United States citizens can serve on a jury. United States citizens can vote in a federal election. I'm excited that I'm a US citizen because I got to serve on a jury. That was fun. I learned a lot. And I also get to vote in elections, general elections. I get to vote for president. It's very exciting. And you can only do that when you become a United States citizen, a naturalized US citizen. You can serve on a jury and you can vote in a federal election. 50. Name one right only for United States citizens. Name only one right for United States citizens. United States citizens can vote in a federal election and they can run for a federal office. They can run to be a U.S. representative for their state. They can run to become a senator for their state, but they cannot run for president. You have to be born in the United States to be able to be a candidate for presidency. But you can run for federal office. You can run to become a senator or a U.S. representative. You have to wait some years, but you can do that. That's also a privilege for becoming a U.S. citizen. 51. What are two rights of everyone living in the United States? What are two rights of everyone living in the United States? Their rights are, 1 minute, please. Let me get a little comfy here. The rights are freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to petition to the government, freedom to worship wherever you want, and the right to bear arms. To bear arms means to have guns, legal, of course. So the rights are freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom to get together, assembly, to demonstrate, freedom to petition to the government, freedom to worship wherever you want, and the right to bear arms, legal, better. 52. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? What do we show loyalty when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? We show loyalty to the United States and to the flag. By the way, that flag you see here But sunflowers, that was in front of my house this summer, and I grew the largest sunflower flowers that I've ever grown in my life. First time I've done it. And so I was so proud, and I decided, why not use my very own flag in my own house to show you how proud I am to be an American citizen. Okay, so what do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? We show loyalty to the United States and to the flag. Okay, question 53. What is one promise you make when you become a US citizen? What is one promise you make as a naturalized citizen? Naturalized citizens give up loyalties to other countries, defend the Constitution and laws of the United States. They obey the laws of the United States like all Americans. They serve the United States if needed, if you're the right age and if you're needed. Serve, do important work for the country if you're needed, and are loyal to the United States. So, what is one promise you make when you become a U.S. citizen? Naturalized citizens give up loyalties to other countries, defend the Constitution and laws of the United States, obey the laws of the United States, serve in the United States military if you're the right age and needed, serve, do important work for the nation if needed, and are loyal to the United States. Next. 54. How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? Citizens need to be at least 18 years and older. 18 years and older. How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? Citizens need to be 18 years and older. Okay? 55. What are two ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? What are two ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? They can vote, they can join a political party, they help with a campaign, they join a civic group, they can join a community group. They give elected officials their opinion on an issue. You can email, write to people, the elected officials. You can call your senator and House of Representatives. You can publicly support or defend, oppose an issue or policy. You can run for office, like I said, for U.S. representative or senator, or you can write to a newspaper. And the only thing you can't do is run for the presidency. Okay, to be president. Okay, 56. When is the last day you can send in a federal income tax form? When is the last day you can send in federal income tax forms? The last day one can send in federal income tax forms is April 15. The last day one can send in federal income tax forms is April 15. You can, if you apply for an extension, then you have till October 15. If you apply, and you have to apply, you can't just assume it's okay. Because the official day to send your federal income tax forms is April 15. Okay, moving along. When must all men register for the Selective Service? That means for the Army, military, sorry. When must all men register for Selective Service? All men must register for the Selective Service at the age of 18, between 18 and 26. So, for example, you're becoming a citizen and you're 22. You didn't know about it, but now that you're becoming a citizen, you have to register. That's one of the requirements. So you must register between the ages of 18 and 26. 57 again. When must all men register for the Selective Service? All men must register for the Selective Service at age 18, between 18 and 26 years old. And that's it, my friends. Thank you for joining me again. Let's continue to get ready for citizenship. Together we can do it. Join me, and I'll see you around. And before I end, I want to wish you a happy new year 2022. I want to wish you a happy new year 2022, and I'll be seeing you around. And I want to share this with you as my last little thing of saying goodbye to you. Here we go. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'll see you around. It was nice working with you. Thanks for joining me. And if you like it, please subscribe, okay? Hasta luego. Bye.